Man, Rookie looked in great shape as we welcome you back to the grand finals here for game number 2. IG just dominated over JDG in that very first event, and let me say, it's looking good for Invictus Gaming heading towards their first domestic title after being the 2018 World Championship. But first, let me introduce you to my desk running into game number 2. I got Clemenchu, I got Tabe once again, and gentlemen, there was a big talk about draft after that first game, and maybe curiosity towards JDG's side, Tabe.
Every time I really want to dig into JDG's ban pick, but this time it's different. Why? Because I found that every time JDG, they lose game 1. I don't know why, but like Coach Home is picking his prehistoric draft.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
the Kaiser, the Orin, and Nocturne. I thought it was 2018 MSI. So we didn't see Soon playing any Orin, and we knew that Orin is good against Jayce. Yeah, but I think he's trying to put an Orin into Ryze because both these champions doesn't have a really good arcane shift.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Clement, what were your thoughts on the draft? Because specifically for JDG, I know Ryze had some thoughts, but let's go further into yours.
Well, basically what worked of their composition was the topside combo between the Nocturne and the Orin. So if the champion shows up again, they might run the same combo, but what I'm really surprised about is that they didn't try to play the bot side harder. Typically how you see teams deal against Invictus Gaming is saying, you know what, we can't contest TheShy and Ning. Yeah. These two duos are just too strong together, and Ning always plays towards the top side. Let's try to trade back on the bottom side. Very defensive bottom side draft from JD Gaming come around this time as well. So the early game, you knew it was going to go Invictus Gaming's way. I think you agree with that. There was not much they could do with this type of a laning phase. And then when it came to mid-game, I feel like IG properly out-tempoed them. They were in position first, and when they got the fights going, they used that position to then trade off damage. And when the team fight, mid-game team fights didn't work, I don't think JD Gaming had many outs. That's the way I read the draft and how the game was actually structured. And I'm really wondering, what do you think the outs were for JD Gaming on this draft?
Yeah, during the gameplay, we can see that they picked Braum very early, and they brought Lissandra really early. I know they're really good at this, but if you play against a team like IG, if you really blind pick something like this, you need a lot of time to farm. You cannot farm because IG is typically a team that is good at laning phase. We can clearly see that Sui is winning Lissandra really hard. And because of Rakan and Saya, Ling is really comfortable against Braum too. So we can see after the first fight, when Baolan tries to roam and secure the first blood, already before this gank, his laning phase is a little bit boom. But after this, it's like an atomic bomb straight into her face.
Okay, that's fair. I love how you put it there, Tabe. Of course, Baolan had such a good performance. Our MVP of game number 1 of the grand final. His engages were sick. And it's good to see he is rewarded. 100% kill participation. 0-0 and 18 is an insane feat.
Very well-deserved MVP by Baolan right there. I think the first roam was crucial, finding that kill in the mid lane, getting Rookie head, and when JD Gaming tried to collapse with the numbers advantage at the start of the fight, he got out scot-free. Great maneuverability, great team fight presence. It has to be Baolan for this MVP.
Does it come back to the point where, Tabe, I know you said it was like a sword and shield with the two supports comparing each other. Was that a change-up from IG, or was it rather that they're just buying into the bottom lane of JDG?
Yeah, I saw, I said already, shield and sword combination. But how come Baolan can play like a sword? Right? And I said before today, last time I said in the analyst's desk, Baolan has 93 win rate with Rakan. So add on today is 94.5, right?
Yes.
He has insane stats.
Do you think that JD Gaming can ever get away with the draft as defensive as Lissandra and Baolan? Lissandra and Braum. Because I think those were the two main picks that didn't really deliver anything in that game 1 whatsoever. I felt they couldn't find the picks and they couldn't do well in lane either. So I would like to see them change those two picks up. Would you agree?
I really agree about that. But the problem is what is still Ryze. We mentioned it before game 1.
The FLICKR.
is a really good flex, and I can see that Coach Home cannot know where he is going, and that's why he cannot place a counter pick support, because he has to pick Orin. So to change this, we need to do the LvMao counter pick. We cannot let him get Braum. Braum is like, I sacrificed the lane already.
We expect to see LvMao roam a lot more. We know him for the niche picks like the Bard and the Fiddle that we were talking about at the start of day. But what I love to see from LvMao is the fact that this support plays dangerously. He plays aggressively, as we've said in previous weeks, and we don't always see that with the Braum in the bottom lane. So going into game 2, where IG now have side selection, I would love to see, as Ryze mentioned, something like the Blitzcrank in that bottom lane.
Ooh, that's a tough one. But what I would like to see, though, like, Blitzcrank, you're wishing for a bit, man. It's not Christmas
I'm
yet.
okay, man. I like wishing.
I actually wish that they could just pick the Xayah Rakan for themselves, because it's a great takeaway, and Rakan is also LvMao's best champion as well, which is really something that people forget about a lot of the times. He's a great Rakan player, especially against their series against EDG. That was the star pick. He got iBoy so many times on that one. So I feel like aggressive picks for him and picks that can roam are really what we're looking for, and let the sword be the sword, just like Tabe said.
Do you agree with that, Tabe?
Yeah, totally. The main point is, if we want to have these kinds of picks, for example, Blitzcrank, Fiddlesticks, and Leona, these are really good against Reckon. But the thing is, you still need him to have the chance to last pick, right? Yeah. So just back to at the first what I said, Coach Om really likes to game 1, really, to be honest, he likes to like randomly pick something. Just to see what you are going to play.
I love this. I love this.
And game 2, you can see different things. I can bet I will buy you a steak dinner if Soon picks Orin again.
Really?
All right. You know what? I don't want your steak dinner, because I want to see TheShy and Zoom actually play the laning phase.
Yeah,
this is what it was so hyped up for. Number 1 in stats for TheShy, number 2 in Zoom in all categories, and they just don't play each other in the laning phase.
I think Clement doesn't want to agree to that, because he doesn't want to get you a nut. Doesn't he already owe you a steak? So that's a double steak dinner already. That's something that you definitely don't want to go for. But because we're so heavily talking about draft, and the crowd around us are going nuts over the Chinese side, that this game 2 feels like it's going to be turning a leaf for JDG. Otherwise, IG might go the distance and just shut them out.
I think this game, not only about draft, the most important thing that JDG lose so hard is, first, I just said already, Reckon is so comfortable until 6 and go mid. And the second thing is the top TP. They didn't recognize that Zoom TP was 20 seconds cooldown. And when TheShy died after Nocturne's ult, he immediately pressed TP and secured 2 kills. That means what? You use double R to kill me, and still I can TP, go down, and kill all of you. So don't pick Orin again.
Yeah, that's fair. Clement doesn't want to see, or Clement thinks it might be seen again, rather. The Orn has been categorized in, okay, good, I'm just done. Clement goes, no, don't put that on record. The Zoom Orn has been exciting in 2018, but we want to return to that solo dominance. Remember how we talked about the Kayle, maybe more of the carry potential? The GP has been a safe blind in Series Pass as well, Clement.
I think the main thing for me is actually just take away Ryze. I think Ryze is just uncounterable so far, and in that situation, even though they could consistently get kills, they couldn't stop him from being a side lane menace and scaling up further down. Ryze, he's already showed this pick 3 times throughout the entire playoffs.
Because you know JDG are not going to pick it, because their win rate on Ryze in the spring so far, Yagao is 0-7 with the pick, and Zoom hasn't done much better with it either.
They actually have not won with this pick in the playoffs at all. So you have to think about it this way. This is the biggest difference between IG and JD Gaming in my view, is that JD Gaming, while they have great solo laners, they can't flex. On the other hand, IG, they can flex however they want to. So this is such a big advantage that I think they need to level the playing field with just taking away those picks. Like you said, it might even free up the supports to then go for something more aggressive.
Yeah, other than just now we talk about the different lanes, I really want to talk about the jungle too. Okay. Why? Because we can see that the jungle pathing between IG and JDG is so different. We can see that Xin Chao is vertical jungle, right? Yep. He get all your Braum, your Wolves, and your Blue. And remember, because mid lane, Sui is winning. And Ryze is pushing an Orin. So, doubling pushing, when Nocturne invades Blue, he cannot do exactly the copy of Xin Chao. And that's why he's losing his levels and losing his experience. And even he had 2 times trying to gank TheShy, and it's happy. Why? Because I can get an Ocean Drake, and everyone in my team needs the regeneration of mana and HP.
As you can see, there was very smart warding down the bottom side from Imp and LvMao to deny Ning from getting that level 2 gank from the level 4 gank. Goes to the Ocean Dragon, like he said that's absolutely fine. Flawless, however, did a good job of recovering after that first ult, went astray and didn't really achieve anything.
Yeah, you actually find a lot of kills. Had the most kills on the team at 4, sitting that throughout the entirety of the mid game. And I feel like the picks actually did work. So they got something out of that draft. If Home wanted to find one thing, it was at least the CC chain. They could do that and could find picks with it. I just think that even if you want to pick the Orin and the Nocturne, the rest of the map just has to change. You need more points that actually can contest in the laning phase. And I think if you're playing against the bot side, there's actually a decent chance that maybe LvMao and Imp can outright win the lane. Throughout the entirety of playoffs, especially like teams like WE and RNG, they actually banned out the Kalista a lot of the times against Imp. And even Coach Holmes said today on Weibo, he's like, I really want to thank Imp for being one of the worst AD carries to one of the best. Like a savage coach, but he's true on that. I think Imp actually showed up in the playoffs and played a very good laning phase throughout. So I want to see him put more emphasis on that lane specifically.
That's how they got here, right? Because if Imp was still playing like the regular season spring, we'd expect WE would have taken them over, even RNG. Strong bottom sides, but Imp held out very well. And here is a chance for Imp to go further than that and to shine. In the series against FPX, let's not forget the bans where he was targeted out. Kai'Sa, Vayne consistently. Do we then start shutting him out more if we're Invictus Gaming?
I think one of the problems is that before the game I said he will not play Vayne today. Yeah, right? Because he cannot win the lane.
True.
And so his Kai'Sa has a really high win rate too.
Yep.
So I cannot win with my Vayne. I cannot win with my Kai'Sa. So I will pick Varus, right? And I don't know why they banned Varus by themselves.
Yes. They banned Bar, they banned Varus.
Yeah, I'm good at running and I chop my head, I chop my leg.
Okay, chop your leg. Okay.
That's
okay.
So I think this is the problem. So I think banning Silas, Varus, and Rek'Sai is smart, but if you want to be 150 IQ, you should ban Ryze instead of Varus.
Okay.
The 150 IQ like Tava. I totally agree with that. I think Kalista and Varus are those picks that they can actually make a bot lane work with, and I just don't know why they denied it from themselves as well.
But as Tava said, look, game 1 of JDG, I'll take the, game 1, it's just going to be JDG doing JDG things. It's a good, let's say, warm-up there. As IG enter the stage once again, the crowd erupts in support. They have pretty much everyone here behind them, everyone supporting Invictus Gaming. And after that first game 1 dominance where we talked about how the lanes ran out of control and how IG just stomped their foot down in their own fashion, it was no surprise.
Definitely was the case, and I don't think IG needs to change much in this draft whatsoever. They're just going to go for the flex picks early. The Ryze, Akali don't seem to be banned away by JD Gaming, and these are the picks that actually JD Gaming can't match in their own draft. So you take these early, you leave a good combination for your bot lane, or leave good key counter picks for your jungle, let Ning be able to do all flawless. I think the game plan for Invictus Gaming is quite rock steady. Don't expect much changes from them.
Yeah, and I don't want to see Orin and Nocturne anymore. I want to see Flawless with some aggressive jungle picks like Lee Sin. And even if you really want to farm, just pick something like Zac and Talia. They will have a better impact in late game. And also, next game, JDG is blue side or red side?
Red side, I believe. From what I saw there on IG, I had a sneak peek at the computer because IG have side selection for game 2 and game 4. So it would make sense that, yes, I have confirmed IG are on the blue side.
So I think it is really good for JDG not grabbing Kai'Sa, but getting Varus is better because Varus Braum is a better laning phase. And also, if they still want to get Kai'Sa, please get something that can synergize with Kai'Sa. Fiddlesticks is really good with his fear.
Really
Leona is good with his R.
Clement, what do we call the Kai'Sa Fiddlesticks combo?
Oh, we call it the jump scare combination. That was the one I really enjoyed during the WE set. They caught out Chia so many times on it, and the way it works is that you put the Terrify on someone, it counts as a hard CC, puts a plasma stack on them, and then Kai'Sa can fly in from 3,000 distance to finish off the kill. So it works with the pick combination, and most of all, Fiddlesticks actually gives you shove in lane, so you can actually leave and roam and sync link up with Flawless, do a little bit more damage in the early game.
It always comes back to the fact that we said LvMao is the sword out of the sword and shield. We said that LvMao was going to pick these very inventive supports, these niche style. We did not see that in game one, but we've seen a lot of his Braum before. We're looking towards the mobility boots on his support. That's the style that we expect. So going into red side once again, what are your expectations now from JDG?
My expectation is that they do take out the flex picks and they actually do a proper counter matchup for Zoom. That's the most important part. You already put in the, put a strong bomb side in. So finally, Zoom, just play that hard carry, play that bruiser that you're so well known for. The Swains, the Nars, and the Gameplanks are really what Zoom made a name for himself on.
Tabe, I know that in game one you gave us a bit of a prediction, but now based off what you know, what do you want to see different from JDG's side?
Yeah, I wonder if audience doesn't understand what I say when he throws game one's brand pick. It's because remember when LvMao played Tom Kench? Yeah, it's the same thing. Just let LvMao play aggressive picks. Just do this.
Clement, do you want to add anything to that?
I think it's pretty fun that that I want to back up Atabe's statements a little bit. It is true that what Home does in drafts is he tries to see how he can position himself in the matchup earlier on, see what he can get away with. And this time around, he was going for not that strong of a contestant laning phase, but very strong catch potential in the mid game. He was testing to see if my team failed the laning phase, can we still salvage this? Can we still play the game plan on? And this is really what Coach Home has been doing so well throughout the playoffs, is positioning his team in the correct spaces against the matchups. Against WE, it was all about early game tempo, and while WE went for the late game AD carries, JD Gaming managed to find stronger picks in the early game to close the series out. Against RNG, they did the same thing while they basically picked the latest scaling picks they could find for the top side. They knew it was going to be undisturbed, so it does take a bit of time to find your footing and find the correct angle to attack each different team. And that might be what Coach Home is doing.
I love that we're talking about Coach Home and the adaptability here of JDG as we head into the second game now of the grand finals. JDG and IG head-to-head once more. IG took game one, as we say thank you to Tabe again. But going into game two, Clement, similar bans from IG on the blue side. I love the Bard here as well.
There's no Ryze ban right here. So both Tabe and me are wrong. IG don't have to change anything. Insta-lock the Ryze that we've seen TheShy dominate on, but at least they're going to get the Varus.
It's a rinse and repeat as we welcome Ryze back to the desk.
I say one difference I want to see is the Syndra. I want to see a Syndra coming in from Yagao, so he has options if it's going to be a Ryze in the mid lane, and so you can see Zoom going to red side, or at least in second phase that is, and have an option towards top lane. Now, if it's going to be Ryze up top, it is going to be difficult. Yeah. But I think JDG have options here early.
Oh, Tabe the Prophet actually calling two of the picks that JD Gamer are going to go for. Early aggression at least coming out from Flawless. Doesn't have to wait till post 6.
Don't stop.
Okay.
This was banned away last time. Double flex now here for Invictus Gaming.
And I can't decide who I want to see the Jayce on more, because TheShy has never lost on that pick in the LPL, but at the same time, Rookie's Jayce is also such a treat.
A lot of it for Ryze and Jayce is that they're lane dominators first and foremost. So for JDG, a lot of the times, they will struggle to find an option. That's why I think picking up the Syndra is so meaningful. JDG needs to be able to play through mid, because if Zoom doesn't have an option in the early laning phase here, like even if he picks a Yorick, I think Yorick is fine if he gets the early gank pressure from Lee Sin.
Yep.
But Yagao needs to be able to stand on his own feet, no matter the matchup.
Maybe something like the Zoe as well, which is picked up by Rookie in game one and has looked exemplary on Yagao's side.
Is considered countered by the Jayce so far. So it is going to be the Syndra, and I actually like this a lot. If you land the CC early game, it's actually very easy to shut down the Jayce, and at the very least, they're going to force a cleanse out of the summer selection.
So we're already seeing the exact opposite here from JDG from game 1 to game 2. What our adaptation here for JDG was, please love the laning phase, man. Laning phase is not there to hurt you, man. It's not the laning phase that's doing it. It's Invictus Gaming. So JDG picking up options here here, the Varus, the Syndra early on, and you have the early pressure coming in from Lee Sin's Flawless, who was once upon a time, like, flawless on it.
It was insane.
He was not losing on that pick in 2018. Going back on it, now the team that nailed him when he went on the Lee Sin, his first loss in 2018 was against Invictus Gaming.
Yeah.
So he still remembers that. That's important to be able to pick up on. But for JDG, this is a solid answer.
It is a really good start and a response towards the adaptability we talked about with Coach Home. You can also see IG starting to respect some of the picks like the Ornn getting banned away here in second phase, while JDG are just locking down hard on JackeyLove.
Because it was working. If you play around the Ornn option, how do you get out even with your summoners available? That was a real problem here for TheShy, who found himself in both side lanes when he was top lane in the early game, just trying to clear out a good old ward. He was getting smacked. Went towards the bottom lane and side lane shove, and there was nothing for Invictus Gaming in the opposite side of the map, so that was just a solid trade for JDG.
And right now, I think JD Gaming, they actually have a very early game composition right now. Varus and Syndra not really going to impact that much going later forward. And Sion selected, not what we wanted to see in the top side.
It's definitely not. JackeyLove maybe pandering to the audience, maybe not. This is available. We haven't seen any other 80 carries just yet.
I think Kaisa makes a lot of sense here, because this is Invictus Gaming going back to the whole play defensive bottom lane. Kaisa can get through fairly easily. A lot of the concerns that I would have is that the Varus outranges, really pushes you underneath tower. In the laning phase, Varus comes up trumps. But knowing that you're dealing with a Braum here, this is where JDG don't have many options of being able to play in against the Braum and Sejuani.
Hello. One of Ning's 2018 champion explosions here on Summoner's Rift.
What I love about Ning's picks, do it, man. I'm not even going to talk about Ning if you do this.
We may as well just wait 17 seconds, gentlemen. We talked about this in game one and even the pre. Now for JDG, 10 seconds to lock in their support.
Lock it in. Don't even care, man. Don't buy time. I don't like tense situations,
on the front line, though.
Oh, Clement,
they're doing
I don't have time
anyway
for that because we got a Fiddlesticks here in game two.
So the lane pressure is there from JDG. Their bottom lane is going to be really hard to deal with. But if I'm looking at IG, they're looking at their bottom lane too. Like early skirmishing with Sejuani and Braum passive, especially if we're just looking at the amount of ranged champions that they have here, my friends, like Jayce, Ryze, I don't care who it is. Bottom lane skirmishes 3v3 is going to be in favor of Invictus Gaming.
I love this from IG. This is so symbolic.
I will say, however, JD Gaming is going to have far more control of the lane. The way JD Gaming are looking at this, they have a counter in the mid, they have a counter in the bot side. They're trading top for bot, basically, is their game plan so far. If they get that bottom side going, they can go into the jungle, they can get flawless those invades, and try to pump his confidence up as well.
One thing that I will compliment the bottom lane of Invictus Gaming for is the cleanse pickup is necessary. Going up against the Fiddlesticks and knowing that you're probably going to be eyed on like enemy team is coming for you, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter at what time. Early laning phase, probably.
Look, I'll give you this. Post 6, IG will dominate the skirmishes, but before that, there's a golden opportunity for JD Gaming to just push the lane, walk into red side, and take whatever they want. They need to cash out on that moment.
I'm going to use the golden term of it depends. Because when you talk about depending, I'm looking at the mid lane for JDG and saying that, like, playing through Syndra Lee Sin, you never know how it's going to play out. If you have the control, exactly. If you have the controllers laid out there for JDG, then it can be Syndra looking towards bottom lane and having instant pressure that it could be very easily. Actually, Rookie playing on the back foot really often, so it really does depend on how JDG play through their mid lane. They need Yagao to succeed.
But agree with me on that, on this. Bottom side of the map, JD Gaming, priority for sure with this comp. Yeah, so that's how they're going to go for it. That's how they're going to win.
I'm excited to see, though, that JDG has actually changed their draft again, and coming into game number 2, finally we see some strength in lanes. Game 1 felt like a warm-up, but that's just a cop-out. IG slammed them down in game number 1, and as we re-enter Summoner's Rift here in the grand finals, the Summoner stands there waiting for JDG to step up, take us to even footing, otherwise IG will head towards match point.
This is what it's all about. Because you better believe the players will hear that. Especially when the chants start to come through, the players will hear that.
This crowd is absolutely magnificent. And why wouldn't you? For JDG, the miracle run is on the line, and IG's first domestic title. Such good storylines from both teams as we're finally seeing Yagao on his Syndra. One of his best champions. It really is.
Ooh, didn't
dodges
hit.
away.
So I love that because, you know, any small advantages, IG will try and find them. Early laning phase, if he can get an extra poking across and really help out Invictus Gaming. Remember, you were probably having Rookie trying to get a rune prison off there too and get more considerable damage.
Especially with that kleptomancy. A bit of early change never hurt anyone. So just trying to find those auto attacks onto Yagao. Unfortunately, great reactions from the Syndra.
Super rare to see that in the top lane. Of course, TheShy is the innovator that we've seen the glacial augment on Sion on, and now for the Jayce back to the kleptomancy in what is a safer lane.
I feel whenever it comes to Jayce versus Sion, you ask different top laners, they will give a different response and who does well in the matchup. Just because, like, remember, Jayce will have a successful laning phase, will be able to at least trade well if he gets the opportunity and the items. Yeah. We're going to be seeing flawless stars straight towards him.
That's because LvMao started to secure the scuttle. Flushed over the wall, aggressive from JDG.
Scuttle to scuttle. Get off my crab, buddy.
He didn't even finish the first scuttle in the top side. Falls just kept on walking.
This was pretty greedy by Ning. If you look at his lanes, none of them have priority, and he's still trying to get that scuttle just because the Lee Sin started on the top side. He's thinking, I should get this for free in the map trade. Didn't happen.
Falls just driving by once again. Rookie cannot push out in this lane. Yagao has full priority.
I'm right back. His entire job is to track and to make Ning's life difficult. He's not even going to go back to the scuttle crab. He's going to find him where he stands.
It's level 2 versus level 2, but the blue buff Sonic waved. Flaw's not going to follow up. He takes a blast cone instead.
My early top lane point is going to come to bite Ning because he's already getting the shove. Sion's getting shoved topside. Well, it's the same thing happening for Yagao, so Lee Sin can do just this and not get punished for it.
Looks like the blue buff close to resetting though. How does the patient work out? Because Ning is now level 3, goes in with the Arctic Assault, locks down with the Winter's Flow. Oh my God! No Falls. He smites to heal back up. Falls now needs to escape. Ning unlucky, but Falls, he's glad he didn't get the scuttle early.
That's the thing about Sejuani. That damage is coming in hot. But it's still my crab. You ain't taking it.
Yeah, the smite comes through. It's Ning who gets it in the end.
And that just goes to show you how much priority means when you're trying to invade someone in the jungle.
Oh my, we are not stopping here. Flawless secures the big chicken, but he's still level 2. Permafrost comes in again. Ning now in a different as Yagao, looking for Scatter the Weak. Ning doesn't know where to go. Scatter the Weak doesn't get the sun with the Orb. Falls, walks on in, safeguard, into the Sonic Wave. First blood for JDG.
At least Rookie still have his summoners, but get away!
He flash. Oh no! Rookie, no! Fails to flash in the grand final.
That hurts the most, man, because that one's easy. You have to get closer to the wall. You know Lee Sin doesn't have summoners. TheShy wants to clean up the dirty work.
But it's too late. Flawless has gone all the way back to base, and JDG get out ahead.
I absolutely love how far Flawless ran away from the situation. He knew TheShy was after him. You know what? He's like, I'm going to walk on this one. I'm not going to take any backs whatsoever. And that was all about priority. Every single time the skirmish started out, JD Gaming had more members coming in at the time. The first skirmish didn't work out. They were able to walk out, and Yagao was able to save him.
Raz, I see your grid.
And this is inspirational, honestly. I'm going to put it in that perspective. Ooh. If you're looking at Rookie, taking a look at how he plays this out, let's go all the way back.
Yeah, but I just want to point out that was really smart by Ning. He actually takes the experience to hit level 3 and then walk back into the Lee Sin.
And this is why it's inspirational, because this is JDG coming in, being able to find the pick on towards Ning, but you hear and see the greatest players in the world making the most basic mistakes, right? It's hard to watch.
No.
But you have to see it to believe it.
And that just proves they're not gods, they're human after all. So if you ever thought IG were artificial intelligence, you're proven wrong.
That is all the proof you need. The failed flash gets rinsed and repeated on our replay, and Rookie now down without the summoner.
And this is the reality of the bottom lane, because so much focus has happened to the top side, reasonably so, and it might continue. Look at this. But JackeyLove and Baolan's getting shoved in and passively been losing out gold just simply because the turret plating is being handed over to LvMao. So successful bottom lane, and we've seen what JDG is able to do when the Fiddlesticks is able to roam out free with a little bit of cash in his back. So I'm loving this from JDG. hopefully they can accelerate this a little bit more, because a good JDG is if LvMao is able to start the action.
And you can see the control wards already being shoved into IG's red side jungle. They're already going there and contesting the Raptors. They're going to set up around that section, and we should expect a big 4v4 that's going to happen around this next red.
Because look at where Ning is. He's level 4. He's walking up towards that area as well, trying to deny Flawless, but in such a good position now, the jungler of JDG.
And RNG always has to come out. Remember, Infernal Dragon is up and available, and for JDG, he's been putting out so much pressure that it makes a lot of sense for Flawless to start pooling in some pressure here. Back him up a little bit so this Infernal Dragon is certainly theirs.
Because he hasn't been spotted out, but there is a ward on the back of the pit as JDG go dead even in this lane. For Invictus Gaming now able to get the shove out. They've kept up in CS, but like you said before, the turret plating makes a difference, and now bottom side priority over to Flawless for the challenge.
All eyes on Yagao, who does not have mana. Even if he got the successful shove in, JDG have to make this quick and get out.
Oh, Flawless picks up red buff, outsmited, hits level 5 as well. JDG are out.
Well played. They recognized they didn't have the timing window, so it needed to be quick. You even saw LvMao backing them up and saying, all right, we got what we needed.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit safer than previously mentioned, because the bot side of IG were like, you know what, we're not touching this. We're just backing. So there was no contest whatsoever, but they do walk away with so much on JD Gaming's part. They can chain that into a scuttle so easily, and they're just going to set up for that big Crowstorm Dragon team fight around an Infernal Drake. That's something that we've seen teams like FPX just completely, FPX and W completely lose to JD Gaming over. It's so crucial to knock walk into a level 6 Fiddle around that objective.
Really depends on what Invictus Gaming we end up seeing here tonight, because a disciplined Invictus Gaming and IG at their top will not challenge that. They'll trade across the side, so I like what I'm seeing from Invictus Gaming. Thankfully, Flawless is nowhere even near Dragon. I think that's the bad choice here, of course.
Yagao.
Okay.
Gotta be careful. TheShy gonna get zoom on the rotation down to that red buff. So it was red buff for red buff as a trade, but with still more bottom side priority. Look at where Flawless is heading, almost level 6, and that Infernal Dragon is spicy.
But, as I even mentioned, an IG that is disrespectful will challenge this. Even when they're finding themselves at a deficit, they don't have the control wards available, they will try and say, we'll outplay the situation, but there's no mana from Rookie. He needs to base, they recognize it. So even being in the top lane to prepare TheShy for what's essentially going to be his lane from this point forward, I think it's the right call.
He's already 15 CS up here as well, so rated Dirk picked up by the Jayce.
Does deal a lot of damage, and he should be very far ahead in the gold department. Remember, he is running the Kleptomancy. The big question here is, can he get even more off of the kill with Sejuani unspotted here?
There we go. Roll the dice into a Mountain Dragon for the next one. So JDG should continue to pressure onto the bottom lane, at least when the next Dragon comes up. So their strategy is starting to come out.
We already talked about the response, though, as Ning is up here ready for the Arctic Assault. Ultimate available here for the tank as the flash comes through. Sonic Wave does not land. It's just a shock blast, but they go on and they turret zoom. Still alive, TheShy not going to be tanking it up. Comes through, decimating Scourge. It goes back to Ning though. 1v2, Zoom almost finds it.
It was the W that Sejuani was trying to link up and flash. He would have been able to nail Zoom down earlier.
He's got the slow, the flash away, TheShy trying to outplay. Ning comes back in, one more for the Permafrost. They get it. Ning now has to run. What a turnaround from TheShy.
You gotta play with what you got, and I don't know why he went for that kill. TheShy coming up as a response.
We're just going back again. Flash burn in the bottom lane as it almost gets caught out and Rookie's coming in.
Yep, and JackeyLove following up on the play.
Come through, he's stunned down. Imp is dead. IG starting to get this game in motion.
Wow. I mean, were that just the minions? Were the minions holding my man back? It just seems like that was the case, right? That's sad to see. In fact, I know we've seen a lot of replays already in this series, but I hope that's going to be one of them. I just need added clarifications, all right? But take a look at this. What do you do? Oh, he's bringing in the Lee Sin.
They're full health. Flawless might need to go in first. Level 6 with Dragon's Rage available for Flawless.
But you know LvMao, man. He's going to call for the play regardless.
But they go for the longer route around. I don't think they can find it here.
Sonic Wave, the wall already channeled. He comes in with the flash, gets the fear onto JackeyLove. Flawless doing the damage onto Baolan, but look, here comes Yagao. Scuttle needs to land. He comes in, unleash power, doesn't kill JackeyLove. LvMao underneath turret, almost dies. The shock blast avoided with Baolan. snipes through. Here's TheShy, who's already found enough in this trade.
Just had to use the minion, so he teleports right through and makes his mark.
I have to say that was so forced from JD Gaming's part. I thought he was going to crow storm directly over the wall. You can actually extend your ultimate with the terrain, but doesn't do that right there, and then walks into the ward, still goes for the play. It was a little too late.
There were about 3 plays in that instance where I would say, okay, now it's time to back away. All right, you missed the Q on Kai'Sa because, you know, she had the added mobility. Okay, back away. We're good. We're all right. We don't need to. Oh, we go. Like, they were so confident because they had the Syndra who was following up, albeit late, that they went for it anyways, and it made that opening for now Jayce, who was not even in the game earlier on. He'd been actually getting shoved out by the top laner, but now he's so far ahead.
Now it's just such a risk as TheShy's going to get help onto Imp again. They lock him down, he's dead. TheShy gets his 2nd kill of the game, and Ning is starting to get hyperactive.
Has the CS, has the gold, experience is in his back pocket. TheShy is set up to succeed.
This is the terrifying Invictus Gaming, but wait a minute, Flawless coming in.
Looking for the kick, the scout of the week, doesn't land. He gets cleansed out, Rookie now chasing up the re-engage as Baolan comes in, misses with the Winter's Flower onto Flawless. He's dead as well. Invictus Gaming, do not stop the tempo. As idea to don't, Rookie has to flush away, but Ning goes in again, flushes under, can't be killed under this turret. LvMao left on an island, and here comes TheShy. 1 versus 4, Fiddlesticks trying to delay time, but Ning happy to take up more. Give that one over to Baolan.
This is so refreshing to see, and they don't even get the kill credit.
Goes down to a turret. The fact that this is going so badly so quickly for JDG is insane.
When you watch IG play, it is so fun. If they have priority in side lanes, they will rotate first and foremost. If they have push, they're not chipping down that turret. Hell no. They're coming to help out in the cause. And the cause was Ning going mid to Sion to Zoom. So like right now, JDG are not able to make any engages, any points, any picks, because if it's long enough, if they can last long enough, Invictus Gaming will have more friends in tow.
And IG are willing to play the defensive first step, which is a big change from the regular season. They're willing to first back off, give their members time to rotate. They're keeping themselves alive, but when they finally arrive to the scene, they just go in all so strong, so hard. And JD Gaming are trying to rush things. They're not actually playing to where they have priority anymore.
Not so long ago, we saw Ning had that gank in the bottom side of the map, so of course he was going to be the one rotating. And you have the Kai'Sa who's up top dealing with the Sion all alone. Remember, Sion is not a part of this play, being pushed behind by 2 players. So Baolan just says, I'm going to join in on the action.
If you haven't seen the comms of IG before, we'll hold that thought as Force being caught out. He's burning down. LvMao in bad position as well. Going from bad to worse, it seems, as Ning will be caught out. Good turnaround from Yagao. JDG chasing up with Zoom. Now into the front line. They find TheShy, they find the slow, but he'll get the accelerated shock blast onto him and the blast cone out. At least JDG coming back into this.
Far different from the last game, at least JDG in their own composition have some pick potential, right? Even if we're looking at the last comp, you're saying, okay, Lissandra, but that's a lot of cleanse. They have pick against pick against pick. Varus ultimate, the Syndra, of course, catch that she has, Lee Sin kick. There's so many options, and I haven't even mentioned the Sion. If he's a part of the play, if he's a part of the action, he will be able to start it off for them.
Still taking stock of the situation, a huge winner for Invictus Gaming. It was a 4v5 that they were playing right there, and they might take the lead.
Needs to leave the Dragon. TheShy! Oh my lord! Lee Sin just gonna go back to Dragon.
I nearly had a heart attack.
As well.
The entire stadium was there with you. You could hear the sighs of relief from half of the stadium.
It is the same smite. Does in time. Ning was coming in. The Glacial Prison is available, but Zoom is covering him like a rock.
We're playing a very dangerous game here. Zoom has to play Guardian here because the ultimate from Sejuani can follow up. You know TheShy is just looming over you. So right now, IG are just playing you demons.
But can they stay here? IG know 2 members of JDG in the mid lane. That's LvMao and Imp. They're not going anywhere near the blue buff, so Ning will get that at the price of Flawless.
And what Invictus Gaming can now do is that Jayce can leave this lane quite freely against whoever's matched up against him. So we should really track TheShy in all of these movements. He's been very willing to join the rest of the skirmishes. Typically when we talk about IG and JD Gaming, their top laners, they have pretty low kill participations. They actually like to stay in their lanes and farm up a little bit more. Not in this matchup with the Jayce. He has lane priority. He's going to join up for those fights. And JD Gaming, time and time again, have not been able to factor in TheShy at the right times.
And at this point, this is the part of the game where IG is actually trying to push away pressure, right? They're not trying to get the death blow in there. It's the tier or the Seraphs being stacked up by Rookie. And also on top of that, TheShy didn't have teleport advantage. It was actually Sion. So if there was ever a play on the opposite side of the map, JDG would have more members. But, you know, IG played towards TheShy, continued to push the action, and now you're getting to a point where teleports back up from TheShy, and action can start through in the bottom lane right now, and Invictus Gaming are already ready.
I think that's a really good point, because all of these plays that have been happening so far have been parry and counter blow coming in from Invictus Gaming. JD Gaming, I feel like they are the ones on the rope on this one. They have a Syndra. She's not going to scale very well. The Lee Sin as well. So they're really trying to push, really trying to get things going.
How can you stop the tempo when JDG keep getting caught out? This time it's flawless, second death of the game, and IG strike first.
The sick thing is that they have the Realm Warp right behind it. They even factor in the possibility of a Fiddlesticks baiting and hanging around that Herald.
And it's not like JDG are surprised by this at all. They knew that the Sejuani had to be on that side of the map. We can even say that from TheShy's perspective, or at least what IG is going to be doing, you know, get Rift Herald, push top lane in further, get deeper vision in the red side jungle, and try and cut around to mid lane. They can get mid lane tower fairly easily. The question is, what can JDG do about that? It's not like they're, you know, like, oh, we don't know what they're doing. We don't have vision. They recognize that this is going to be the optimal play from Invictus Gaming. They just have to concede.
Really hard to match the tempo of IG in both this game 1 and game number 2. It looks like they're running away with it again. Rift Herald picked up 5k gold lead at 16 minutes. I'm seeing trends repeated here for IG as JDG try and fight back with that turret.
I will put this point out there, just for people out there recognize. I mean, I love myself some righteous, glorious Sions of the world, all right? So if, and we've seen this in the past. In fact, I would say TOP and JDG are the best teams at being able to utilize this. If the Sion will not play in the side lane and cannot deal with TheShy, especially with Black Cleaver being completed and already moving on to the next item, roam them towards mid lane pretty frequently. Just ult on cooldown. Like, in the sense that JDG will be ready for it, LvMao is searching for it, and you can try and upset this game. It will look messy, but JDG needs that messiness right now.
Let's go. This is the play, but the kick flush doesn't come through. Falls, gonna get bursted down. Zoom to save the life. He comes in with the unstoppable onslaught, but now he's gone too far. Ning comes in, forces the flash. Zoom dodges from the ulti, but it slows down. If there's a change of corruption, now join the fight. Force can't do too much as LvMao gets the fear. Ning forced the flash as well. Flawless should have been dead.
Yeah, I should have been. That's not what I was talking about with Messi, by the way, because that was just poor execution from JDG. Flawless, especially when he was not able to nail the kick.
You can see Yagao's trying to get the pick themselves as Shock Blast really doing some damage on this back line.
The timing just a little bit off, and it's what a great supercharge coming in from JackeyLove, getting himself backwards out of position of the kick range, or that would have been a straight alley-oop into a train.
This has just accelerated the game for Invictus Gaming, because they would have worked hard for that money to pick up mid lane turret initially, but now they got free bases. It's going to have to be JDG to be creative inserting this fight.
Remember that Ning has Rift Herald when he joins this fight as well. That's the outer turret down, and IG back to that 5k gold mark.
Oh, and guess what time it is?
It's Infernal Dragon time.
And this, I was afraid of IG not being able to answer this because JDG had the pressure so early on in this game that it would have been theirs. But no, that's going to be Invictus Gaming taking pressure here.
Oh my lord. Thank you very much, says TheShy.
And that was 26 HP away. That's just when you know things are not going in your favor anymore. They had priority in the bot lane to start this game off, but JD Gaming have all but lost it at this point.
IG just looking in their world-class form and heading towards that bridge of match point here in game number 2.
I think JDG are scrambling.
That's
right now, Yagao doesn't have mana. Dragon's coming up. He could have based earlier, but if the call is to look for Dragon, he should have based earlier. If the call is to concede it, then yeah, good call. But right now, it seems like they're trying to push back when their major carry cannot fight.
Level 2 ultimate's going to be hard for Yagao to get the orbs out as they found the big Zoom goes in, change of corruption miss, and they find the Glacial Prison. Rookie runs forward, but Zoom is already dead, not taking it off against TheShy.
Not surprising. I just said they can't fight, but they're finding it out.
Rookie flashes over the wall. JackeyLove ults in. That's another kill for IG as Rookie looks to spread more of the commitment, and this time Rookie doesn't miss the flash.
JD Gaming had to go. It wasn't a question of do you want to contest or not. With this composition, you need to win out early, but IG, the coordination is
get it out, boy.
Out for the escape, but
Let's go home.
cannot survive. Home to Whereas.
Can
I just call that the exit party? That was such a cool move. Even Flawless was baited by that one.
Let's talk about this one thing, because I do not believe that JDG should ever pick up that fight. I don't think they're communicating amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Because I already laid out the fact that Yagao is pushing out side lane, not ready to fight. Well, what's the call? Like, yeah, exactly. So now they're making basic mistakes that they have not made during the playoff run.
Yeah, that was a play where I feel like time pressure was on them. Yagao, I felt like that was a mistake on his part for not going in on that one. And just looking at this fight, 2 ultimates actually do not land for JD Gaming to start this one off, and that was just pretty much it.
Even if it did, you are in what is a choke point with a Sejuani ready to fight. So, look, IG has been in this position before. They've lost finals when it came down to inexperience. Like, JackeyLove's been under that spotlight, and he made errors that he didn't make ordinarily. And right now, JDG, we're looking right at the lineup, and I would say, you know, Flawless has experience, but not on the big stage, not in the big times. And if you're looking towards, like, members, you're like saying Imp. Imp is your one guy that you're looking at and saying that has the most amount of experience, and he's the one reacting to his team that's moving forward. So Yagao, who had his rookies year last year, and he had played phenomenally, but right now was not able to come in clutch. And the same goes for a lot of these members coming through.
It's a really tough position for JD Gaming to actually be in, and I think the next objective, they're going to have to walk into a setup IG around Baron. It's already up now, and IG are already moving into a 1-3-1 at this point.
And we already talked about how last game it's so hard to play against Invictus Gaming's comp when they have position on the map with the you know, Zoe Sleepy Trouble Bubble that's just flying at you. They had the Realm Warp available last time. This is harder. Like, you have Braum ultimate, you have Realm Warp as well, and you have a Sejuani that's just lying in wait. So IG are waiting for them, are going to be baiting, and when they find an opportunity, I mean, look at that.
Dodge. I mean, the Sonic Wave resonating strike, ults in from JackeyLove. They land down with the Glacial Fisher, and now Yagao in his turret, trying to take Rookie, but look at the shielding. Unfair. LvMao comes in, they finally do find one with him stepping forward, but on the back line, TheShy is such a threat that JDG have to be careful.
They can't even continue on because of that shock blast right up
really
towards
wants
Varus.
to go in, gets it half health, but he just gets evaporated. IG again.
TheShy was the MVP of the back half of that fight, because while, you know, you saw LvMao coming in with his ultimate, he's like, okay, perfect, nice, you got a pick, maybe you can continue to move forward. Shock blast in the face of Imp. Oh, you're like, okay, can I press it forward? I do not think Sion got the message on that one because he moved onwards, while TheShy had eyes on the carries in the back line.
So come back to it again for IG, now onto the Baron. It begins, but for JDG, this is going to require a miracle.
And there's no crow scoring for LvMao, so no surprises right there. It's going to have to be piercing arrow.
Flushes on him, wants to take a 1v1. TheShy almost dies, but it's secured, and so is Baron. They jump for the fight onto the Fiddlesticks. Ning waiting for the rest of his team, but look, they can't even kill the Sejuani at this point. Baolan, TheShy, everyone from IG are outplaying JDG.
And they know when to play it back, right? Because FPX have been in the same position where they got everything they ever wanted.
No, JackeyLove's back in. Ultimate's not up and available, and that's the only reason Flawless is alive.
But they know where that line is, the line of scrimmage. So even though Flawless was lying in wait saying, is there anyone who can come in and I can assassinate, right? Is JDG going to be, I mean, if Invictus Gaming going to play this one undisciplined? Not the case. That was smart from IG.
It's been smart play so far in this series. Clement, I look at you and you go, well, what's doing? Because this is just insane.
This is pretty crazy for Invictus Gaming, but I think they found the perfect balance between craziness, going all in, and playing discipline. Throughout all of that skirmish, while they were still fighting with JD Gaming, they were still earning a bunch of gold on Ryze in the bottom lane. He has the most CS in the game, 40 CS over his opponents, and 1-3-1 is on the menu for JD Gaming next. They don't have a lot of ways to shut people down quickly with the wombo combo they have.
So we taking a look at this. This was, as I was saying, that IG can just play the map right here. Flawless is going to die. I still liked the ultimate coming in from LvMao, so that was a positive, but all eyes on TheShy. Where is he coming in? Oh, guess what? Boom.
Oh, what? Oh, no, we're just fighting again. IG come in, and TheShy has found the flank once more. They've already lost LvMao in the Fiddlesticks without his ultimate, and now Rookie finds Zoom. This is going from bad to worse, and Yagao even has to flush out of the shock blast as Rookie follows up. This This man is on a mission.
He has double summoners, though he just used his flash to get the job done.
Oh my lord.
Okay.
This poke is insane. IG, they're not stopping.
25 minutes in, they're going to close this one down before the 30-minute mark. IG's motto is we never do overtime. They're aiming for another historically fast PO5.
But can they end the game? The crowd goes insane again, and JDG getting chunked on once more as IG look for the second Nexus turret. With the Baron buff, they find the shock blast onto LvMao, they find the engage, and JDG routed back to their fountain as IG on match point for their first ever domestic title.
We are on fast mode right now. It feels easy for IG. They're playing away, or at least playing around what their strengths was. And it kind of makes you forget the adaptation JDG made.
Yeah.
Because as it started, Coach Ohm set them up to succeed early, and thankfully they did. But it all turned around off of Zoom looking for that solo kill early on. Didn't happen. He played it out well when he was getting ganked, but he died. Teleport bottom lane as the, opposite play was also available. And you started to see TheShy literally get back-to-back plays, netting him kill gold on kill gold.
Yeah, I just feel like IG can turn it to the Matrix mode whenever they want to. They play in slow-mo while you're throwing punches at them. So every time you go forward, they can parry that blow and come back right at you. JD Gaming had a winning game plan, but IG just outplayed them in those specific moments. JD Gaming overreach, and then they found themselves in a situation where the comp was getting outscaled. They needed to make things happen now. If they lost map control, that means no surprise party from Fiddle anymore. So they wanted to rush things, and IG were there to counter.
This was my greatest fear coming into this series in a JDG perspective, because of course 8 seed versus 2nd seed. And a lot of people look at IG and say that they're not team fighters. But they're not team fighters by choice, right? And a lot of the stats come through, and you look at the stats and you're like, well, they're giving up kills for the map. They're actually just net winning, and the teams are like, I don't play for stats. I don't play for the KDA. I play to get the fastest wins as possible. And so what I'm looking at was JDG coming into the series saying we have, the stats say we have high team kill participation. We group up, we roam frequently, and we also had the team fights. But what you just saw was IG out team fighting. Yep. You also see them out roaming. When it was JDG actually rotating towards the mid lane play, or at least when they were always looking to a play, like Flawless was pretty on point. And I liked the fact that he was constantly keeping them honest, but they were honest. It's like, they had, Baolan was coming in early, and the same happened for TheShy, and so it always felt like there were always more members from Invictus Gaming because they have side lane shove than they are coming.
Remember that for IG, when we put them up against the team, we always go, what's the comparison individually? And here at the very least, just to put it simply, it looks like IG are outplaying each and every lane, stylistically, skillfully, and willfully, apparently.
I think IG just have more gears. If you look at the regular split, you think that IG are actually just a crazy team, but JackeyLove, when it counts, is actually, after his World Championship specifically, is able to dodge incoming traffic. That's not the case in the regular split. He dies at everything. But when it's important, when it's playoffs, we saw him dodge out on how many Sion charges into his face. It was twice that he dodged out from a direct Sion charge, and then he also dodged out from the flawless kick that would have ended a lot of Invictus Gaming's tempo in the mid game. So I think that's super important at how good this shield is holding up against the advances of JD.
Sure,
I will say this, what I liked from Invictus Gaming were two things that they should have been in a deficit for. Like when TheShy doesn't have teleport advantage, but they're still able to play through what is a TP, top lane lead, and continue to push that because Jayce was willing to look and move towards mid lane if there was ever, Flawless looking to make a kick happen, right? So I like the fact that TheShy was always ready for that play. And another one was simply just going back to the first point, which is when you have a top laner that has a lead, when it's the Jayce, you look across the globe, and a lot of these teams just struggle of being able to say, okay, we picked for Jayce having a lead. What do we do now? We can't play through mid or bottom lane. We need to find a way to make Jayce a part of the mix. And it's it's a give and take, right? Sure, it's we should be putting more in towards Jayce so maybe he can continue to split push or take advantage in top lane. But the take is, Jayce is coming now. Jayce is constantly rotating to the play, and he's able to hit a lot of these shock blasts. So they made what seemed difficult globally so easy.
So then we look at the top lane on the other side in JDG, and for the first time this split, consistently seeing Zoom on tanks game after game, Clement.
Oof. Well, you know, in the trash talk video, LvMao did say that TheShy is pretty much Zoom's daddy, so to speak.
Okay.
So I think that might actually come into play. It really does feel like to me that through a lot of conflict, a lot of scrimmage, maybe Zoom feels like his best chance is actually just playing for the team. I don't want to see that out as a result.
That's 2018 JDG.
Remember this, like we had this discussion when Tabe was on the desk,
Yep.
is you know you're dealing with a lot of those flex picks coming in from Invictus Gaming. They found themselves on blue side, and they're getting Ryze easily.
Yeah.
They're getting Ryze and Jayce consistently. In fact, when they got the Ryze, and they're like, do we have to hold anything going in the second phase? Let's get both of them on first phase. Who's kidding? Like, what was the response coming in from Zoom? Like, literally, what was his response? I'm gonna play a tank again? Sure, we want that. So it's one of those points where it's like, you know, a bronze player, a silver player out there can make the same conclusion that you can't outplay that situation. You need to start banning the Ryze or the Jayce or take it away if you're on blue side. But JDG's been finding themselves on red side. They don't have that option.
It needs to be more difficult because here for IG on match point after what was a big start to the grand finals, JDG are making these replies, but it doesn't seem to be enough in the face of Invictus Gaming. Game 3 is coming up and match point for Invictus Gaming as they look to take their first ever domestic title right after this.